So I stumbled upon this and just like looking at the title alone of this article kind of just pisses me off. So, outrage at how an Aussie man suffering brain damage from a horror smash and awarded $2.8 million to live on lost everything after his fortune was handed over to a government trustee. Like, ugh. It is so unbelievably annoying seeing people getting completely screwed over like this. So, the plight of a desperate man with brain damage forced to live in his car after a government trustee squandered his fortune on foreign investments has prompted anger across Australia. Which, by the way, the government trustee who screwed this over needs to be in prison if he isn't already. Perth man Neil Jackson, 63, was awarded $2.8 million after a traumatic car crash in 1997 left him with severe brain injuries. His money was placed in the control of Western Australia's Department of Justice to manage, and he was also barred from accessing disability or pension payments until 2029. Okay? That's still 7 years from now. Like, do you realize how freaking absurd that is? Now, his furious family, along with members of the community, are calling for an inquiry into the public sector blunder. So, what is a public trustee? The public trustee offers independent professional trustee and asset management services to the Western Australia community. These include will and enduring power of attorney, drafting deceased estate administration, and personal trustee and administration services. The public trustee offers a range of free and fee-based community services accessible to all Western Australians, including preparing and giving advice when you make your will with the public trustee, preparing enduring powers of attorney (EPA) and acting as a done under an EPA, administering deceased estates, managing the financial affairs of people who have been deemed legally incapable of doing so themselves, acting as trustee for people under the age of 18, acting as a trustee when appointed to manage personal injuries or criminal injuries compensation, acting as a trustee when appointed by deed, providing support and examining the accounts of private personal financial administrators. So Mr. Jackson's ex-wife Janet said the money he was relying to live on for the rest of his life was gambled away by the government department on overseas investments which he never agreed to. His story has been widely shared online with commenters describing his situation as heartbreaking and disgusting. The public trustee is a terrible organization, one person wrote. Yeah, if they completely screwed this guy over out of the $2.5 million that he was awarded after a horrific accident, that is so beyond effed up, right? Because he's not capable of potentially making any money, really. And they completely screwed him over. Mr. Jackson said he feels like a nothing and has given up any hope for his future. It's 25 years of hell and it just keeps going and I can't take it anymore, Mr. Jackson told 9 News. I just want to go to sleep and not wake up. Like, do you realize how freaking effed up this whole situation is, right? For someone to be completely screwed over like this when they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. And they needed that money to survive, and the government completely shoves up a broom up their butt. Like, dear Lord. So the public trustee is a terrible organization. They take all your money and squander it, just like corporate strata managers. This is just one of the cases that the media sees. There are countless more clients who have lost in ratio just as much. How do I know? I worked at one for 4.5 years before it finally broke me. Ask me anything. Medical care of my grandma was recently taken over by the public trustee in Perth. They insisted on moving her from my mother, who was equipped to take care of her, into a nursing home. She refused to eat and her health declined very rapidly, and 17 days later she passed away. We buried her yesterday. They're a pack of bastards. With the millions lost by strangers, Mr. Neal had one asset to hold on to, his southern suburbs home, but it burnt down in 2019. Miss Jackson said the trustee later sold Mr. Jackson's land without telling him. We've had no say over all his money. Where it is, where it goes, she said. With no money and nowhere to turn in the midst of a global pandemic, Mr. Neal was forced to sleep in his car and hasn't been able to find shelter since. The former millionaire now only has secure access to food and weekly showers through a not for profit organization. And commenters on Reddit were devastated to hear about Mr. Jackson's ordeal, but said he's not the first to be done wrong by the public trustee. And basically, from this, if you could see this, if you check this out, this is the car that he lives in, right? Like, this is so, like, depressing to see. This person says, I don't even know what to say about this. This is disgusting. This poor man. This absolutely broke my heart. Sounds like his funds are gone, but I hope this story can get this guy the help he needs. I want to go to sleep and not wake up. I know what that feels like. The guy had 2.7 million that was gambled away by a government department who then sold his land from under him and now he gets weekly showers. Shame on all of us. Some of us are living lives others struggle to imagine, but no one effing cares. A weekly shower FFS. And Daily Mail Australia has contacted the WA public trustee for comment. And of course, no comment. And look, this is the thing, right? This is why we mention anytime you were to get any sort of like windfall of money, only get advice and don't let people take control of your money no matter what. Because you really can't trust other people. Now, his situation is a little bit different where he was basically forced to go through this, which is so beyond stupid. Like, no one should be forced to have someone take care of their money for them, right? Because if he wanted to screw up his life financially, then he should be allowed to screw up his own life financially. Even if he has mental disorders, that would be his choice, right? It's just, this is so sad. So sad to see. Like, can you imagine being a millionaire because of a horrific accident that left you brain damaged, but you actually do become a millionaire, and then all of your money, all the things that you basically own, get squandered away by the government? Like, the government screws you over. The government F's you over, and you did nothing wrong. Just simply live your life, and you had a horrible accident. Like, there would be a lot of people who would be in his situation who would basically say, like, I would prefer to just not wake up the next day. Like, that is a really dark statement that this guy made, but it's completely understandable. Like, if you get completely screwed over like that, and for like basically decades you were forced to basically live in your car, or basically forced to live in a really bad financial situation because the government screwed you over, it's like what do you even like look forward to at that point? Because you can't make more money. Since you're brain damaged, you're not going to have that much skills available to you that you could develop. Like, you're basically screwed. Like, you are basically screwed. And yeah, if you stumble upon this, feel free to give your thoughts. I just think this is so disgusting of Australia. Like, absolutely disgusting.